Hi, this is Baridashik Hossain. I'm your lecturer for data science. So today what I'm going to do is to cover your week one solution. So the task that has been given for you to finish in your workshop. So I'm just wanted to walk you through the solution for week one. Okay, so let's see what we have to do for week one. So the goal of this workshop is to get you started with Python, as we are using Python as a language for data analysis and for our data science course. Okay, and then Jupyter Notebook that we'll be using throughout this semester, and Git. So that is our version control system that will help us to keep track of our work. Okay, in the class as well as in the workshop. Okay. So these are the three tools that you will use through the semester, throughout the semester. Okay. So Python is our language of choice. So you may have seen it before if you did, like Comp 249. So if you have not, so in that case, you have to, learn some basic Python coding. So from my personal experience, Python is very user-friendly language. So I have seen, like a number of languages like C, C++, Java, PHP. Okay, and now I'm working in Python. So Python seems to me is the most user-friendly language. So don't worry about Python. So I think like if you give some time, so you can easily learn the basic coding for Python language. Okay. So at this moment, we are looking at a Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so this is a document that mixes text, code, and output of the code. So which is like necessary for our case, because as we'll be doing some data analysis and we'll be using some data science algorithms. Okay, so what Jupyter Notebook will allow us to do is that like we can run our code, we can compile that, and we can see some graph, we can see some visualization, okay, which is very necessary for analyzing data. Okay, so a lot of your work will be creating notebooks like this to present your analysis. Okay, so that's why we are looking at Jupyter Notebook, and in your class as well as in your lab you will use this Jupyter Notebook to finish your task. Okay, so Git is a distributed version control system. So you will use it to keep track of your work and ensure that you have a backup copy of what you are doing. So you should have checked this notebook out of GitHub using Git. Okay. So your task this week is to complete some programming work in this worksheet and commit your changes to your own Bitbucket repository or GitHub repository. Okay. So the instruction is given in your iLearn. So now I will walk you through the basic, solution for this, like Python basic codes. Okay. So the first part is string manipulation. So it says that the next cell. So, like here we have some cells. So in Python, in Jupyter Notebook, so we have some cells like these are known as markdown, and these cells are known as code. Okay. So the benefit of using, like markdown is that you can change this description. Okay, so whenever you are doing your assignment, you can write the explanation why you are doing that. Okay, and also if you want to take some important notes, you can also use markdown and you know and keep your note here. Okay, so that's the thing. So that's why we are using Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so for Python basic coding, we will start by using string manipulation. Okay, so here you can see that like next cell define 3 strings that you will use in the first group of questions. Okay, note that the first uses single quotes. So if you look at uh, this window, okay, so this part, so it says that like, so whenever we are writing something like this, that means like we are declaring a variable named title, and we are putting a string inside that variable, and the string is data science. Okay, and for that what we are using a single quotation mark. Okay, in case of code, so we are declaring a variable named code, and we are using a double quotation mark. Okay, so the code for data science is comp 2200. Okay, and then description that describes the units. Okay, now the thing is, for these three variable, we are storing string, and for the first one we are using single quote, for the second one we are using double quote, and for the third one we are using three double quotes. Okay, so basically all of them are same. So if you use single quotation, that's fine. If you use, like, you can use either of them. Okay, so now if I execute this, okay, so now the thing is, like, once I execute this, that means, like, if I write here title, so it will print the title. Okay, so title is data science, right? So it says write code to print the length of this string. So basically we can print the string by just typing the variable name. Okay, so this is Jupyter Notebook, so that's why whenever I'm just writing the variable name, it's just printing the content of the variable. We can also use print. Okay, so in this way, basically we print a variable content inside a Python program. Okay, so we use print function. But as it is, like Jupyter Notebook, so if you just type the variable, that's fine, you will get the same thing. Okay, so now it says our task is to not print the content, print the length of the variable. Okay, so for that, what we'll use a Python built-in function, which is called like len. Okay, so if you use len, and then inside that, if you use the string name, like variable name, so if I write like title, okay, so it will give me the length of the like string. Similarly, if I write len like code, okay, so it give me the code length of the code. Okay, so if you look at this code, it says like comp 2200, so that means like total 8. Okay, so that was our first task. Second task, write a code to create a string in a variable summary that contains code title and the first 20 characters of the description. Okay, with a colon character between each one. Okay, so we have to declare a new variable, so you can put a name, so it says like summary. So let me create a variable named summary, and then inside this variable it says like I need to like concat this like string variables. So at first I have like title, so it says like okay, so at first I need to like do plus title plus description. Okay, so whenever I'm using this plus sign, this is working as a concatenation operator. Okay, so that will concat to a string. Okay, so now the thing is, like, we need to put some cap in between so that we can understand like which one is code, which one is title, and which one is the description. Okay, so let me add a quote. So let me add a colon. So you can see that like I'm using single quotation, I'm using double quotation. So basically all of them are same. So it's up to you, like if you can use single quotation mark or you can use double quotation mark. Okay, so if I run this, so it's not showing anything because I have not printed the summary. So let me print it. So I'm just using basic Python style to print. Okay, so if you remove print, only put summary, that will work also. Okay, so if I run it, so you can see like so this is my code, this is my course title, and then that's the description, right? So let me put a space this way, there some space. Okay, so now question is, it says that the first 20 characters of the description, so we cannot put whole description here. So according to the question, what we have to do, we have to take only first 20 characters. Okay, so whenever we are declaring a variable and put a string inside it, okay, so that means put a string in it, so that means that like it's an array of like characters. Okay, so in title is an array of characters where we have like DA, then space SCIENCE. Okay, so this kind of thing. So we have to think about it that way, so to bring first 20 characters. So whenever we declare a variable, put a string inside that, okay, and then like we want to bring only first 20 characters, so we can start from 0 to like 19. That will bring the first 20 characters. Okay, or what you can do, you can put something like that. Okay, so that means like whenever we don't put anything here, so that means like it starts from the beginning and it will go up to 20. Okay, so as it starts from 0, so we can consider like 19, so that will give first 20 characters. Okay, if I put 20, that means like 21 characters. So if I write this, okay, something like that. Okay, so basically that was the task. Okay, so now write code to find out the number of words in description. Hint: this is easy in Python since string supports string split method that returns a list of strings after splitting on white space. So basically, split is a um, built-in function in Python. So what it does, whenever you put a string and then dot split, so it splits the string based on empty space. Okay, so here there's a link for split method. So I guess you have already visited that. So if not, so you can just go there, and find out, like here we have something like that. So this is a string and we are splitting based on like comma. Okay, and like if we have something like that, so basically here we are defining comma, so it will split based on comma. So if we don't define anything, so it will split based on like empty space. Okay, so let me go through this one. So basically it says, so description. Okay, so let me check. So I write like description, okay, dot split. Okay, so I'm just calling the default method, like built-in method. Okay, if I print that, so you can see that, like, it just show me the words in the description. Okay, but we don't need to show all of them. What we need to show, we need to show the number of words. Okay, so what we can do, we can write like len. Okay, split, something like that. Okay, and then it shows like total 84 words in description. Okay, so that was the task. Then the next part is control structure. So control structure means, like if condition, then for loops, while loops, this kind of things. Okay, so using loops. Okay, iteration. So here you will explore Python control structure, conditionals and loops. So write a for loop over the words in description and count how many times the word unit occurs. Okay, so you should your solution will have an if statement inside the for loop. Okay, so our task is to like go through each word in description and find out like whether there is any word name unit, and like if we find that, like we need to count the total number of times the word unit occurs in description. Okay, so here you will encounter Python's recurrent indentation for the first time. So this will annoy you at first, but you will learn either love it or hate it with time. Okay, so the thing is, like Python don't have brackets like Java or C or C++. Okay, so Python basically works on indentation. Okay, so I'll show you like how to do that. Okay, so our task is to count the unit words in like in description. Okay, so how many times it occurs. Okay, so let me define a variable first. So this will need to count the number of times unit occurs. Okay, and now I will write a for loop for picking a variable w for words. So for w in like description dot split. So whenever I write this, that means like this becomes an array of words in the description, right? Based on splitted based on empty space. Then I have put a clone. I have to put a clone, and then like, so this is the indentation. That means like after a tab space, whatever code we write, that will be inside the for loop. Okay, so we have to match like if this w equals to unit or not. Okay, so if it's unit, then again we have to put an indentation. That means like now we are inside the if loop, so we have to check whether if this w is unit, then like we'll just is the length of I. Okay, I equals to I plus 1. And then we're done. So now whenever, like I'm outside this tab space, that means like, we are in line with this for, that means I'm outside this for. Okay, so once it's done, then I want to print I and check like what is the number of times, the word unit occur. Okay, so let me run this one. So you can run this by using Control Enter, or you can use, like run. Okay, so now it says like there are total 3 words named unit inside description. Okay, so the next says you can iterate over any sequence of a for loop with a for loop, including the characters in a string. So basically here we use for loop to, like explore words, okay, inside a string. Okay, so we can do the same thing for characters. Write a loop over the characters in the description that prints comma every time it sees a comma. Okay, so that prints comma. So basically we'll write the same thing, but this time we don't need to use the split function. Okay, so I'm using C for comma in description. Okay, and then what I'm doing is checking like if this C equals to comma. Okay, so if this happens, then what I have to do, I have to print C. Okay, so that means I'm just printing comma. Okay, so if I do this, okay, I can print comma. Okay, so by using this code, I can also count the number of comma that happens, like, or number of comma that is in that appears in the description text. Okay, so let me do that. So if I do this thing, so this is not in the question, but I'm just doing so to show you like what is the number of commas. Okay, so I can write a variable name j. Okay, and then like I can do something like this: j equals to j plus 1. Okay, and I'm just commenting this one, so I don't want to. So I just commenting this, and then if I print here, this is like total number of comma in the description text is 7. Okay, so now let's have a look. So function, Python is a dynamically typed language, so we don't need to declare the type of a variable or declare the return type of a function. So basically, like, so whenever I'm declaring j, okay, so basically it defines the type of the variable dynamically. Okay, so based on the value that I'm giving. So at first, whenever we defined, like title, code, description, by default it keep that as a string type. Okay, so in case of function, it happens and we don't need to define the type of the function. Okay, although Python 3 introduced optional type hints, apart from that, the idea of writing a function in Python is the same as in processing our methods in Java. So our task is to write a function that takes a single string argument and returns the number of words in this string using the code that you wrote above to count words. Okay, so basically we did the same thing, right? So whenever we define like description.split, so basically it gives us the total number of, like it gives us the list of words, and if we use like built-in function len over that, it will give us the total number of words. Okay, so we'll use the same logic to define a function. Okay, so define a function at first, we need to write the keyword def. Okay, and then function name. So we can say like number of words. Okay, so number of words. Okay, and this function basically takes so two number of words of what. So we want to put a text inside the function as input, and this function will count the number of words from that text and return the total number of words. Okay, so I'll show you like return. So basically we can do different ways. So I'm just keeping it short. Okay, so whenever we write like text.split, so it will return the list of words from the text, right? And if we write len over that, and then so then it will return the length, right? So let me run this first. And then, okay, so use your function to find the number of words in the description string above, okay? So let me pass the function. So we will call the function number of words, okay? I made it, maybe this is a typo. No, that's fine. Okay, so number of words. Yeah, I just wanted to put title. Okay, so just wanted to see like how. Okay, so it's not defined by number of words. Yeah, because that was a typo from my side. Let me run again. Okay, so it shows 2. Okay. So now the thing is, let me test it for description. It shows 2 for title because it's data science, data and science. Okay. So for description, it shows like 84, right? So our function is working. Now, the next section says data and plotting. So just to give you a test of some capabilities of Jupyter Notebook and Python, we will look at a very simple example of data handling and plotting. So basically, our task for data science will be, doing some, like processing and visualize the result. Okay. So for that, this is very important that like to know like what library to use from Python. Okay. And so basically for handling large number of data set, we'll be using pandas. And for plotting our analysis result, we'll be using matplotlib. Okay. So first I will import these libraries like pandas and like pandas to handle data and matplotlib for plotting. Okay. So here is the code like import pandas as pd and import matplotlib.pyplot as plot. So I will execute that first, okay, and then now I will define a data frame with some data about the number of students in this unit and the pass fail rate. Okay, so this is like an array but can do a lot more. So basically, whenever we are talking about data frame, you can think about this is a multi-dimensional array. Okay, so the last line in the cell evaluates the data frame so that it gets displayed. Okay, so that means like this class data to show. Okay, notice that last year none of the students has failed. So basically, we can change this. So there is a typo. That's the benefit of using Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so here we are declaring the name of the data frame as class data, and then like we have imported a library pandas as pd. So pd.data frame, that means we are declaring a data frame, then first bracket, and inside the first bracket we have like second bracket. Okay, so remember that notation. So you will need that whenever you want to define a data frame. Okay, so here we are declaring year. So this is, so whenever you see something like that, so year, students, pass fail, so these are the columns inside the table. Okay, and these are the values of the columns. Okay, so these are the rows like 2017. In year 2017, total number of students was 38, pass was 32, fail was 6. Okay, in 2018, total number of students was 64, pass was 50, okay, and fail was 14. Okay, in 2019, total number of students was 247, pass was 247, so there is no one failed. Okay, so once I run this, okay, I get this one. Okay, okay, so that means like this is a data frame we have. Okay, so now our task is to plot this data frame. Okay, so now we'll create a simple plot. Okay, so to create a simple plot, what we have to do, we have to write like class data data dot plot. Okay, and then we have to you know we have to type the plot, like what is the type. Okay, so if I write type equals like bar plot. Okay, x is our like year, and like y is pass or students, whatever you want. Okay, so I think there is a small typos. uh, okay, so not a problem. Let me check again. Okay, so basically it should be kind, not like type. That was a typo. Let me check now. Okay, so now I think we have the plot. Okay, so in 2017, what is the total number of students passed? Okay, okay, so something like that. So you can even you can use. So here it says like experiment a little with this. Try to do other options, like so you can look at the documentation for the ideas. Okay, you can make a line plot or bar plot, or like pie plot. Okay, so if I change bar with pie, let's have a look how does it looks. Okay, so this is the pie plot. Okay, so now let's see. Next, we will add a new column calculated from the pass and the students columns to hold the percentage of pass rate. Okay, so this shows we can do calculation over the entire array of data using pandas. Okay, so basically we want to add a new column here and says like pass rate. Okay, so let me add a new column. So this is our data frame name. Okay, and then we want to define a new column which is called pass rate. Okay, and then what we have to do, yeah, we have to define like how we want to calculate this one. Okay, so this is kind of derived. Okay, so this, then like class data, then we want to put like what is the total number of pass and divided by class data total number of student. Okay, so we put like here students. Okay, so now if I write class data here, so it should show me the new column in the data frame. Okay, so now we have a new column called pass rate. Okay, so now create a new plot showing the change in the percentage pass rate over the 3 years. Okay, so basically what we can do, we can copy this. Okay, we can paste it here. Okay, so and then like we can change it to bar, and we want to change, see the pass rate. Okay, okay, so this is the pass rate for. Okay, so basically for year 2019 and 20 we have like 100% pass rate. Okay, so that's all for your week one solution. Okay, so just go through the questions and also look at python.org to get some help and explore a bit. Okay, so that will make your life easy, and I hope you'll enjoy this course. Okay, so thank you for watching. Bye.